I was gonna call this episode Beverages and Bread because that's literally all that I'm making in this video. So I'm setting that expectation now because I know you're gonna be like, ma'am, are you eating any food? Should we send help? Really, this is just what I picked the camera up for, so I apologize in advance. If you remember when I made the banana and tiramisu chia pudding desserts, I didn't forget your request for a breakfast version of them. Being the texture person that I am, I just struggled because the cashew cream, it gives body. So it took me a while to kind of figure out a solution, and my current one, yes, current, because I'm not committed, to mimic that without the extra fat and calories, I'm using a little bit of coconut yogurt, and this one happens to be the coconut cult ones, which if you've tried before, you already know. And if you don't, the consistency is thicker than a bowl of oatmeal, especially the chocolate one. So chia seeds aside, this will thicken up enough that it creates something similar to the custard consistency that I'm used to. I'm finally eating the last bit of chocolate granola that I made quite a while ago because I wasn't really supposed to be eating it then, but now that my braces are off, let's be real, this is how much I actually eat. I walked away and was like, I don't even know if that's enough. It's getting a little brisk outside, and with me constantly flying back and forth, I'm always trying to stay on top of my immune health. So when I found these dried elderberries, immediately I thought I should make elderberry syrup. I found these in the bulk herb section at the market, which was much cheaper than buying it pre-made, but unlike the store-bought version, you can customize it, which you know is my favorite. So I added cinnamon, clove, and I used maple syrup instead of granulated sugar. Something I've been down to try since like last year is making pumpkin shaped bread. Originally, I thought that it would be a loaf, but since I've graduated to making bagels over the last few months, even better because everything looks good in miniature size, you know? The only issue though is I had no idea how much pumpkin to actually use. I'm just adding more and more flour until it feels about right. Spoiler, it took a ton more flour to compensate for the excess moisture in the puree, but it ended up being like literally perfect. Like I'm still shocked how good these turned out on the first try because this was supposed to be a test kitchen situation. I just turned the camera on as the trial run so that I would have something that I could refer back to. Because let's just say not every recipe makes it to these videos. Fun fact though, I didn't even eat these. Like didn't even get to try it because I just gave it to family as kind of a fall basket, but they really liked them, so I'm gonna make them again. I vowed to never make English muffins again after my last few failed attempts. I mean, technically they weren't fails. They tasted like English muffins. Some of them sort of look like English muffins. They just weren't very pretty. But when this video came up on my feed, I was like, hold on now. Because bagels I can do. This is like a hybrid, I guess you would say. Like I just used my base sourdough bagel recipe. And then you do everything the same, except for when you're ready to bake them, you don't boil them beforehand. As always, my recipe will be down in the description box, but I will also link the original creators video as well. And another thing that gets me giddy for fall is a hot matcha. Even though I was raised on iced matcha lattes, I've matured enough to realize that matcha is still good even when it's not overtly sweet and when it's not an iced latte. Specifically, a rose latte. It's going to do it for me every time. And the best part of it is that you can make it a lazy latte and just make the matcha in here too instead of whisking, and then finish it off with either a rose-infused milk or a rose syrup. Or both. I haven't had this one that I found at World Market, but you could also make your own on the stove. And seeing as I've already used this up, if you want to see me make it, let me know. Girl, finally, I'm eating some food. I was starting to doubt myself. Anyway, here I'm just making a harvest bowl, which if you're plant-based is like a staple. Because since most of your protein is coming from like carbs, like beans, legumes, or grains, perfect vehicle to hold it all together, you know? Otherwise, things just gonna be falling off the plate. And I prefer to eat with a spoon. This is a random tip, but I know a few of you have dietary restrictions. So if you're watching your fat consumption, did you know you could just cook your food in water? Like besides boiling or steaming, you can saute it too. Only thing is it requires that you not leave the stove because you got to be ready to pour more water in as needed. The only downside is you're not going to get that Maillard reaction. You know, those good brown crispy bits, but it will still be flavorful. In the last video, I saw a comment asking to see my garden. So here it is. She's still very young, but there's a few things I can harvest. Sometimes I use the salad spinner like it's a top load washing machine, and then I'll let it sit for a few minutes, but you don't want to leave it too long because the vinegar will start to break down the greens. Just like when you add lemon juice or salt to massage your kale or your arugula for a salad, it's almost like pre-digesting your food. I low-key can't wait for the garden to be like so abundant that I just don't even have to go to the grocery store anymore. But clearly I'm working on my green thumb, so it might be a little minute. So drinking AG1 is a quick way for me to get in my nutrients in the morning without the hassle of having to take everything individually. Because you know my main struggle is actually remembering what to take and when to take it. The only thing I can seem to remember is taking my magnesium before I go to sleep. Probably because it doesn't require that I know what time of day it is. Just that I'm tired and I'm about to go to bed. So with just one scoop, a cup of water, I get my vitamins, my antioxidants, and my pre and probiotic before I've even washed my face. And with me still recovering from the accident, supporting my immune system is obviously my main priority. I can just grab it and go, which is really convenient, especially on mornings that I have physical therapy, which feels like every day, because if I ain't going to somebody's gym, I'm doing it in the house. If you want to give it a try too, just head to drinkag1.com/abetweene, or just scan the QR code to claim your free welcome kit. With it, you also get a bottle of vitamin D3 and K2, a shaker bottle, and a sample pack of all 3 of the AG1 flavors. Thanks to AG1 for sponsoring this portion of today's video. When shaping your loaf, you're stretching it one last time so that you can create tension around the network of gluten that you just spent all of that time building. You want a smooth outer layer to hold everything inside. And one thing that you may notice when you're doing that, it doesn't really want to stay. Because at this point, we've stretched it a lot. So just like when you do your stretch and folds or your coil folds, the trick is to wait. But unlike those 30 minutes that we took between each set, you only need to wait about 10 minutes. By waiting, the dough goes slack again, and then come back to stitch up the bottom seam. So if you feel like your loaves are going kind of flat despite having a really active starter, practicing your shaping will help. Yes, after all that work, all I had to myself was half of a chocolate loaf. But I ain't complaining. In fact, I made another one. And instead of water, I'm using a vegetable broth concentrate that I brewed really strong because I wanted to see if any of that flavor would come through. And right after mixing dough, I do not normally touch it, but it was kind of necessary. If you ever worked with sourdough before, or paper mache for that matter, you know that this dries into cement. So normally you would have to wipe off your hands or tools instead of rinsing them because you don't want it clogging up your drain. But you can actually rinse it off with cold water and it'll cause it to clump up. You have a drain catcher, you can dump that directly in the trash and not worry about clogging up your sink. At first, I was thinking about leaving the cheese in clumps because I want to get, a nice chunk of it when I bite into it. But I decided to spread it out because this layer is what will end up being the belly of the loaf. So a lot of the ingredients that we put in this particular placement is going to be on the outside. Therefore, it can potentially fall out or burn. Because of all of the inclusions that I put on the very last fold that I did, I wasn't able to get like a really tight seal on it. So here you can really see the difference that shaping makes, for example, between this and the chocolate loaf. As you can see, this loaf came out so soft. Like normally your crust straight out of the oven is crispy, as it should be. And then only after it cools down for like several hours does it get softer like this. But immediately after I took it out, it was like this. It was even a little bit flaky, just like a croissant. I suspect that this came out that way from all of the fat in the cheddar spread because it is cashew coconut oil. If the choice is between sweet potato and pumpkin pie, baby, it's sweet potato every time. Thanksgiving or not. Like I make the pumpkin bagels because they're cute, but them sweet potato bagels are next up on the menu. So since I had some pre-roasted in the fridge, I decided to throw them into my chia seed pudding, not just to add flavor, but to also thicken it up without having to use the yogurt because I got a love-hate relationship with coconut. Like it don't say much for me. I'll have it once and then not touch it for the next 2 months. If you've been here since the beginning of the bagel journey, you know how obsessed I was with trying to make pink bread. So this is a full circle moment. We have made it, and all it took was, I think it's called red rice yeast. If you saw the episode where I made the strawberry white chocolate, this is that, except I actually remembered to put in the strawberry jam.